All praise is due to Allah and the person of Master Muhammad. My name is Brother Minister YaSin Allah, and I'm here again to deliver the preachings and teachings of the Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad, that the black man is God, the white man is the devil, and that we live in a judgment or the change of worlds. That the old wicked world of the white man is going out, and the new world of freedom, justice, and equality of the black man is coming in. And this time that we're living in is commonly known as the resurrection, the judgment, and many other names that we find recorded in the Bible and the Holy Quran. Before we get into our subject today, I would like to open up in the name of Allah and the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad, the great Mahdi, who was to come and has come to restore us who were lost from our own, the kingdom of Islam, and to destroy those who have destroyed us. All praise is due to Allah. Again, my name is Brother Minister YaSin Allah, and we are here to deliver the preachings and teachings of the Most Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad. And today our subject is the resurrection. And Mr. Muhammad's interpretation of the resurrection contradicted all the other Muslim and Christian interpretations of the resurrection. Both old world Islam, Orthodox Islam, if you will, and Christianity teaches that the resurrection means that dead bodies will come out the ground, or that when you die, you will, if you've been good, you will ascend to heaven and dwell in heaven or the hereafter with God and the angels. And Mr. Muhammad said that is a gross misinterpretation of the resurrection, and that the resurrection actually means the spiritual upliftment and betterment of the black man and black woman here in the wilderness of North America, who have been made deaf, dumb, and blind by our ex-slave masters, the white man or white America. Tomorrow, this is the eve of Minister Farrakhan visiting the city of Newark, New Jersey, to commemorate his Million Man March, or the Day of Atonement. And it is a special day for him and his followers. And while the Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad did not teach a Day of Atonement, at least using that language, we recognize that Minister Farrakhan is foremost in continuing the teachings of the Most Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad, and that his work is known nationally and internationally, keeping Mr. Muhammad's name and teachings alive. So we give him credit for that, and we thank him for that. Alhamdulillah. And in the spirit of unity, again, we recognize his Day of Atonement, and again, even though Mr. Muhammad did not teach things like the Million Man March, nonetheless, it was a great event that unified or brought together millions, hundreds of thousands of black men who, at least for that time, thought about the upliftment and betterment of our people, their people. Alhamdulillah. My subject today, the resurrection, really focuses on a conversation I had with a brother yesterday. And he's a very respected brother, very wise brother, very productive and industrious brother. And he is a well-known in this area. And he's, among other things, a community activist, a businessman. And I have great respect for him and great love. And but yesterday was the first day I actually met him. And we sit down and talk for a little while, not too long. And he expressed some things to me, and I expressed some things to him, in particular about the condition of our people. And that my point was, or position was, and is, that in a place like Newark, where you have such a large black population, but you don't see the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad reflected in our people in the way of doing for self and uprightness or righteousness. And so my position is that we, the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we can do more in order to uplift our people. And his position was that the history is written or predicted by the prophets of old that this will be the condition of the people in the last days. And it was a very interesting point, and we had somewhat spirited discussion, but it wasn't completed. And after we departed, I had time to think about what he said and what I said. And one of the things I would like to point out, and I think sometimes this gets kind of lost in the conversation or the dialogue when we discuss the teachings of the Most Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad, is that Mr. Muhammad's ministry, if you will, or his work for 44 years was to beat the old prophet's prediction. Because if we understand it properly, and it's spelled out for us in several places, and one of, I think, the best places, or one place that really crystallizes the whole thing, is the Problem Book, question number 32, where it goes into how the lost foundation was found here in the wilderness of North America, and that we were so far removed from Islam, or a civilized way of life, that in order for the lost foundation to be returned to the East, that we would have to be taught a thorough knowledge of ourselves. But because we had been destroyed by the white man, the slave master, the devil, the old prophets predicted that only 144,000 would be saved, or who could be converted or cleaned up or made to follow the laws and regulations of Islam to be righteous people, and that the rest of the lost foundation here in the wilderness of North America would go down with the devil in his destruction. However, the Most Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad, because of his great love and dedication to his people and the upliftment and betterment of our people, decided that he would work to beat the old prophet's prediction. Thus, we can see how he tailored or designed his program of getting the truth to us, the lost foundation here in the wilderness of North America, by raising ministers and have them disperse across the United States of America, to establish temples across the United States of America, to establish a paper, a weekly paper, Muhammad Speaks, to he himself, Mr. Muhammad, to travel the country and deliver lectures around the United States of America, so the truth could reach as many people as possible to beat the old prophet's prediction. Alhamdulillah. Now, when I first came into Islam and got my ex, that was a big topic of a conversation among the believers in that day and time in the temple or the mosque, is that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was beating the old prophet's prediction, alhamdulillah, based on the work in progress that he was doing. Now, and this lends to my brother's point, is that when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad left us in 1975, and his work was destroyed, and all his followers, not all, but many of his followers abandoned him and left the teachings, the point could be made that he couldn't beat the old prophet's prediction. Now that may be true, and it may not be true. However, I would draw on two histories, very important histories, to kind of give us a guide of what we should be doing or could be doing once our leader, in this case Honorable Elijah Muhammad, has departed from us. And the first is in a literal reading of Jesus, and we're not saying that Jesus died on the cross, but as the Bible reads, he was crucified and died on the cross, but his followers didn't, after his death and resurrection, his followers didn't say, well, you know, it was good being around him and he taught us many things, and you know, this is the way it is. he commissioned them to go forward and to teach all people in all nations. And again, with a literal reading of the Bible, this is what the disciples did after him. They continued to work or expand. Not only did they continue to work, but they expanded the work, especially when Paul was converted. Alhamdulillah. So that is a very important history to me, in my limited understanding of what the believers of the Most Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad should be doing in this day and time. And that's getting the truth to as many people, our people, black people here in the wilderness of North America, as we should, and to be creative to get the truth to our people in different ways. Alhamdulillah. Now, the other example I would like to point out is that in Prophet Muhammad's history, is that when he died, his followers, his companions, they didn't say, hey, well, Prophet Muhammad died, and we had a good ride, 22 years with him. He taught us many things. He left us the Quran, and that's the way it is. No, even though they had serious disputes among them as to who was going to be in charge, and some of these disputes, history shows, was even along racial lines, because the pale Arabs immediately divided from the darker skinned Arabs, Prophet Muhammad's followers, and they had this separation. But even in this separation, with the pale Arabs gaining control of Prophet Muhammad's work, legacy, and nation, if you will, they moved forward. Even though Abu Bakr was appointed to be the first Caliph without Ali, Prophet Muhammad's cousin, being present, and it was some historians, some people teach that Ali was actually the one that Prophet Muhammad wanted to succeed him. Nonetheless, even though it's highly probable and possible that the house of the Umayyads, who that's what they became known as, the Pale Arabs, the first group or generation that came after Prophet Muhammad, the Umayyads, even though history, it appears that they did some underhanded stuff in order to usurp authority, they continued the work of spreading Islam, and that's my point. Of course, I'm not advocating any underhandedness or anything of that nature, them cutting Ali out until he had to wait until he became the fourth Caliph. But my point is that they continued the work of Prophet Muhammad, and they spread Islam, and they had fabulous successes. Because right after Prophet Muhammad died, they was able to really branch out into the centers, the capitals of the known world at that time: Syria, Damascus, Syria, Jerusalem, North Egypt, and other parts of North Africa. Alhamdulillah. And then eventually they invaded Spain and made that into a spectacular center of Islam. So my point is, I think that we, the followers of the Most Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad, from whatever house that we come out of, should always have in the forefront of our minds that our work does not end because Mr. Muhammad is no longer with us, and we see our people in a very bad condition, deaf, dumb, and blind. That we have transgressed or reverted as a people. I mean, that argument could be made, and there's a lot of truth to that. Alhamdulillah. And historically, many people have deemed it kind of impossible to teach the black man and black woman Islam here in the wilderness of North America. You had a history with Noble Jew Ali, I believe, who got an audience with one of the presidents in the early part of the 20th century. Some people say it was Herbert Hoover. Some say it was Coolidge. Some say it was even Taft, that far back. Nonetheless, it's said that Noble Jew Ali told them he wanted a charter to teach black people Islam, and the response was, that's like trying to put pants on an elephant. And that's the prevailing frame of mind. It appears in this day and time that it's impossible for our people to be taught Islam and for them to follow Islam. But I would just say that's contrary to the teachings of the Most Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad. Praise be to Allah. And again, I was glad I had the dialogue with the brother, and I look forward to speak with him again, not to really debate, but just to, reach out in the spirit of unity, because I believe, we have to be unified in order to be successful. One of the first things we have to do is learn how to work with each other. And as it stands right now, it's very difficult for the black man and black woman to work with each other, because we're going to find ways to be divided. When there's no division to be found, we the black people here in the wilderness of North America is going to find a way to be divided. And in order to really have success, we have to, we can't do that. We have to get over that. We have to overcome that. That's a detriment or a problem or a challenge that we need to address, that we have to address. Praise be to Allah. So this is going to be a short video today, and I just wanted to express these few points, and that want to thank everyone who took a few minutes out their day to listen and watch this video. And as I open, I will close in the name of Allah, in the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad, the great Mahdi, who was to come and has come to restore us, who are lost from our own, the kingdom of Islam, and to destroy those who have destroyed us. Assalamu alaikum.